start us off with something while everyone's kind of collecting thoughts and thinking. Yeah, I figured. So I mean, just one thing that I think is like not anybody's like fault, but like just putting it putting it out there so that it's like on everybody's mind, and then it's something that some of us have already talked about. Is just so this project started as a learning project for Meg, and she is, if she were to start this project again today, it would be built in an entirely different way. And so, like, I think going through all of this, I think we've all learned the importance of future projects being tidy and being built modularly and in the appropriate way. And this is something me and Meg both talked together about yesterday, or maybe the day before, of just like, we still want to learn how to build modular game features that we can plug and unplug without them breaking the game. That way, like, it just, again, it makes the iterative process quicker and easier and less messy. And it's easier to find the thing that you're working on. Like, a lot of the work over the past few days has taken a lot of time because, like, you're working in a lot of different blueprints, trying to solve this one issue, because a lot of this project was built, 80% of it was built in an engine that doesn't exist anymore. And so there's new methods and there's new tools. And so I guess going forward, being cleaner and more tidy and just really investing in doing things right the first time. And then if things are broken or unneeded or not working, to clean them up, get rid of them, or put them in a junk drawer somewhere. But just so, like, when we take a look under the hood, it's a lot easier to figure out what you're looking at.
I'll go next. Um, so yeah, I definitely piggyback off of what Byron just said. Initially starting this game, it was by myself, so this game truly didn't have like a process of pre-planning, and that's okay because now with working with a team and having other people come in and look at the blueprints, and we're trying to work together in the same engine, it really taught me the process of the importance of pre-planning, and just how much it can really set you up for success in the future. Even to the point of like, we literally spent 72 hours on UI these last 3 days, just UI alone. The hardest thing I would say probably I had to do yet with game design. But I feel like simply talking about UI before the project and how we intend on doing like just keyboard versus doing controller, what is going to be our user input, all of that I think is going to be important in our future projects. Just planning how we're going to move forward in the game. And one thing I definitely want to get better at is the modular gameplay. I have some blueprints in there. When I open it up, I get so anxious because it's just like, ooh, I don't know what I was thinking 3 years ago with this. But I really do feel like if we sit and dedicate time to learn this modular gameplay, they have some really good videos and incorporate it to our next project. I really think that's going to bring us to a whole another level of development as a team. Definitely. So, but also I wanted to say again, I had so much fun with you guys. This was so much fun the last 6 months, and I really appreciate everybody.
Same, yeah, ton of
Yeah.
fun. I think looking at old blueprints is like seeing a picture of yourself in high school. Like, that's how I feel about it.
Oddly relatable. I had a lot of fun with this project too, and I second both uh, Megan and Byron's points about kind of laying a lot of groundwork and getting everything together. I think one thing we struggled a bit with this project is there was, and this is something we struggled with a lot of projects, but I feel it's more notable in this one, was we didn't really do a lot of pre-production. Excuse me, like a lot of pre-decisions of what the game was going to be. Because I remember we made a lot of decisions for this game on the fly, on the process of doing it. Multiplayer versus local multiplayer, controller versus keyboard. A lot of decisions were kind of made on the spot as opposed to something we decided like months in advance. And that was obviously a unique situation for this one, but for our next project, I think we really need to be more detailed about what we want going into it, as opposed to getting to a situation where, okay, how much time do I want to put in to figure out how multiplayer works versus how local multiplayer works?
Definitely.
Yeah, but I had a lot of fun with this project. This project was really good.
Yeah, I'm very happy with how it looks. Looks so good. I would also say like I think we did good with giving each other the game creative input. Um
Mm.
yeah, because like I know initially everybody was afraid that it was my project that just started off as you guys refer to as my baby a lot of the times, but you guys gave really good input in how we could make the game more creative, and we was able to incorporate each all type of different ideas from everyone. So that was also a very enjoyable process.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I liked too that we took an approach this time, which I think we've done a little bit in the past, but like I feel like more so, uh, more so this go around was rather than like assigning one task to one person, we really kind of worked in tandem in like mini teams and I think that helps a lot. Where even if a job is not like a massive job, sometimes you just don't have the time to do it, and then like people are kind of like waiting on it to get done, and so like um, you know, rather than one task, one person, like one task going to like a mini squad, I think is really important in a more effective way of getting things done, um, for better and for worse.
No, I
Um,
like that a lot too.
oh,
Go.
I was just about to say that as well. I was saying one of the key things that we was talking about in the last meeting when talking with Chad was that exact same thing of like what we thought as well, especially me. I know I'm talking for myself right now, but I really did like that it was in the team, like teams that worked on different parts. It made things faster, made things easier. It working in groups, in smaller groups, was just very beneficial for everybody and the project itself. So I think that was something that we really did great on in this one, and we talk about trying to carry it on for the next thing that we do. Because it was amazing to do it that way. Amazing to hop in with Sunday, or hop in with Meg, and just work with people and try to get it done, or have when somebody can't get it done, they busy that day, and then the other person be like, I know exactly where you left that, and something like that. It was very beneficial, and I think it was super well done for us.
yeah. A good example of that was like for the AI work, which is really hurting me that we couldn't get that AI in there just yet because we did put a lot of good and hard work into that. And it's like 50-60% there, but it was like Gio, Marseilles. I know one time Sunday hopped in, and we would really work on that AI as a team, and we made good progress every week because AI alone is a big learning curve for us. But with us getting together, yeah, in the group, I think it was like every Tuesdays, pretty much, we would make really good progress and bump heads on that AI. And so that is one of the um, first things we do want to do, even though it's post release because we did put a lot of time into that AI. We really want that in the game. So, but yes, that was a really good example of us working together as a team. Very beneficial.
Um, so I guess I agree with that. Um, so another thing I would like to kind of add. So I think this was our smoothest run with source control. I don't think we had a single time where someone was like, "Oh man, the whole project is broken. I don't know what to do," or someone says, "We've had some like minor work overwritten, but it was never like, yo, my whole week and a half is gone." It was never anything that dramatic like we've had in the past, and that has been great. Um, I think that we're operating pretty well with GitHub. I would like a different um, source control option or to experiment with that. What hopefully is in testing for Unreal is, so I did that week long Unreal Fortnite course for work, and the one thing in Unreal Fortnite that I think is amazing compared to Unreal, like, is Unreal Fortnite has a built-in source control that you don't have to link to something external. So in Unreal, it does have the like revision control, but you have to link it to Perforce or Git, and Perforce is awesome. Like it looks like developers made it, and it's kind of intimidating, but it is awesome. I used it in Project Titan, but uh, but the Unreal Fortnite source control is phenomenal. Like you push and pull everything all within the engine. You can look at all the commits all from within the engine, read all the notes all from within the engine. Like it eliminates the need for GitHub Desktop and all of that. It's really great. So hopefully, we see that soon. I know Unreal Fest is coming up, and they'll be like revealing a bunch of stuff, and hopefully that's just something that they're working on. Because it would make no sense to me to put it in Unreal Fortnite and then it work better than in Unreal, and then to never have something similar in Unreal.
On that quick note, Byron,
Mhm.
that's really really good feedback. It's one of the things that when I was testing out Unreal Fortnite, that really changes the whole development experience.
Mhm.
Because you can literally get in and everybody can work at the same time, and the changes are alive.
Mhm.
So if 10 people are working, in it, all 10 of the changes are live, and you don't have to worry about pushing, pulling, merging, none of that crap. It's right there. Rumor is in 5.5. It's actually here already in 5.44, but they're going to take the Zen server, and they're going to put it to the forefront, and that's going to make it. That's one of the ways that they do it in the background. But as you know, whenever they do the Unreal Festival, somewhere during that time, if not during the beginning of the festival, they release the update to the engine.
Mhm.
Hence the reason projects close. I close projects in October. If you notice, every year, October is like, I gotta shut projects down. Because the festival comes, everything changes. So that's really good insight. Sorry, that's really, really good insight.
Um, so the other thing, so I guess it kind of relates to this a little bit, but we had a little bit of issues with the getting games packaged properly for testing. Um, it is great that we have that solution now, but I would even like to like bring that up a level. Um, like I think it's important to establish a game loop very, very early and very, very quickly, and to keep that loop closed. And like, even if it's really small in the beginning and we are building a bigger game, we can expand that loop. But I think it's important to keep it closed because, for instance, like while AI was being worked on, like there would be times where the game was completely unplayable. Um, and so, like, that makes it difficult for testing. It makes it a little bit difficult for like developing because like I can't test while I develop. And so finding ways to where like even if something is like a work in progress, whether we're dealing with like making branches or whatever, um, just always making sure that loop is closed and it's tight, and from the first iteration you can hit play on the game, you can get through, the first rendition of the menu, you can start the game, you can win or lose the game, and then you can quit the game. I think it's just really important. And now that Meg has been through the process of getting an early access game onto Steam, I also think that that's important for testing. And if we're developing something that, we have ambitions to take to market, that we should be getting it on there ASAP as possible. Because I think that's the easiest, most professional and logical way to get playtesters to test your game.
Uh, that's true, but I'm just going to let you know the process is the development team needs to have access to review the work without loading everything up agnostically. That's the first way you test everything. Once that's accepted from Meg, or whoever is the product owner, who's basically says, hey, this is good enough that I can upload this to whichever service that we use. Um, that's just that's it. That's how you test through, and then when you release, you only release what's working. So yeah, that's just the loop. It's just a loop.
Well, the problem with that is if we do it that way, then it leaves that room to where, well, I'll say in my case, it leaves me stuck with having to test the fixed version of the game compared to, hey, if we could get more people on it all at once, and like they don't have to go through Steam, they don't have to go through having a like project through GitHub. We can just package it and give it to them. I feel that's a better process because then it's like it doesn't just allow it be just like catching everything.
Yeah, yeah. That's the whole point. Again, when we 717, when we are developing, there is there are things in the project that won't end up, and this is any project, there are things that are going to be in the developers folders that just won't make the project. It can be from sounds, it can be from mechanics, it could be animations, it could be 1,000 different things. But when you package, you're only telling you're only packaging up what you're using, and so it keeps it cleaner. It makes it easier for people. It makes it easier to test for non-technicals. Like Chaz, you're right in between. You're quality assurance, but you've also shown that you got a lot of technical skill too, which makes you more than just a feedback person. You know, but that's a luxury that a lot of teams just don't have. So say for example, Byron's testing with some kids at a school, and he doesn't know how powerful the systems the schools have because they vary. If he knows that if it can run on anything or just about anything from either a browser or just from a zip, it gives you more people to test and get feedback from. That's all. So good stuff, y'all. Good stuff. Good stuff.
All right, so what do we have next?
Um,
I figured, and y'all call me out if I'm wrong on this. We went over what went well, positive aspects and success. What could be improved. I guess the thing is, what actionable things can we do going forward? Um, to take a couple minutes, one thing I would like to see improved on is better processes as far as communication and like just being accountable for your work in the sense of if you know you're in charge of something, you are just like letting us know like, hey, this is where I'm at right here. Like just giving us daily, not daily updates, but giving us updates in general on where you're at with something, on if you're going to be able to get it done by this time, if you're going to be able to get it done by that time. If not, let us know. We're not going to be mad at you. We're not going to be upset with you. It just puts us in a position where we can pivot that task to somebody else to make sure it gets done. Because to go what Byron was saying, how we've been working is one task, one person, and that task doesn't get done, it's a blocker for the next person, and that's just to alleviate that from happening. But I also would like to see better. I would also like to see better documentation just to make sure we're all on the same page. Cause I feel like we do suffer from like tribal knowledge when it comes to not letting everybody know a full grasp of what's going on. And to be honest, it's not always needed, but it does make the lines of communication better. And I feel that is something that we can improve on.
The only thing I'm going to say to that is one quick thing. When we break down our tasks, there should never be one task that takes over 4 weeks to do, held by one person.
I agree.
For example, there are just some tasks that are basically, to do that task is basically 100 other tasks to do. So as a manager or as a product owner or a stakeholder, you may give a high level goal and say what are the specific things that you would want to see there. But normally, those people are not the developers who are working. In this group, it's a little bit different. The developers are the stakeholders. You guys are accountable to yourselves. The product owner in this particular case is also a developer. So they're right down there with you with building, and everybody's not lending support, but everybody's kind of building off of that idea with them in real time. In those situations, it's going to be a lot of iteration. It's going to be a lot of pivoting. It's just going to be just enough planning just to get done for the sprint, maybe for a week. But then when you review the work and then you brainstorm the ideas, there may be a whole new set of ideas that you guys are going to brainstorm on and iterate on. And it happens real fast. That's really at its core why agility is different than waterfall. Agility embraces the chaos. I don't know, Byron, if you remember, like that's the one thing that I do is like I embrace the chaos, we embrace the chaos, and from there you can, whatever we're going to do is going to evolve. Actually, Sandiata, it was when I first met you, that was the first thing you asked. You was like, so what's the goal of the project? How are we going to know what we're going to do? And I was like, it's going to evolve. And you were like, what? Do you remember that, Sunday? Is he here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because it was a long time ago, but it was like one of the first things that when we were working together, it was like, yeah, we got to plan out everything else, everything in high detail. And I was like, nope, can't do it because it's a waste to overplan because there's a lot of things that you may want to accomplish. That's the point of the product backlog, high-level features that you want to get accomplished. And then you prioritize that backlog. But when you're actually inside the project, when you're pulling down those prioritized items, those that thing that may just say one thing, like for just use Geo for an example, doing AI. Well, AI sounds like it's one thing, but it's really like 100 things. And when it's a task is that big, that's normally a task that several people need to work on together to make sure it works because it interacts with a lot of different systems all at the same time. So it's a luxury when you can have, when you're able to plan everything out, especially when you really don't know what you're building. You just know what you're trying to have built. It's a luxury to have, like, to be able to say, okay, we're going to serialize all our steps from A through Z. But the reality of it is that sometimes you just need to move that block. You just need to, you may just need to move this thing over here. You may just have to just take one step and then somebody else takes another step. And it might be a half a step. And then when the next thing you know, it's a whole wall there. And then from that wall, it's a building. It is a little chaotic. It's a little asymmetrical. But that's just how most of these projects work. If it's not something that's been built before by a team, by its nature is experimental. And that's the reason why I use this process. Because this process embraces the chaos, the ideas, and it tries to, and it gives you a place where you can at least test them out really quickly to see what works and what doesn't work. Cool. It is now 7:30. Let me stop the